Today, we are not talking about weight training, but we are talking about something else, which is a use it or lose it kind of thing, and which is really important for us to stay safe and functional in our old age, and that is our balance. If we think about one of the things that is most dangerous for us as we age is falling. And preventing falling relies on things like our balance and our strength. And so being strong alone, yeah, that'll help you catch yourself when you fall. But maybe you want to get to the point where you're not even falling in the first place because your balance is so good. And balance really is a use it or lose it kind of thing. Now, you could test your own balance. At this age, 40 plus, people have varying levels of balance. If you've been going to yoga classes, it may be that your balance is a little bit better. And if you haven't been doing anything at all, it may be a little bit worse. So I wanted to talk about kind of three levels of things that you can be doing in order to improve your balance. So the first level is really for people who are having some issues with your balance, like my father. And these are easy exercises that you can incorporate into your day, and they really test your balance. So ideally, you learn this standing in front of a mirror, and maybe you need a stick or something, if you have a broom handle or a mop handle or something like that to hold on to. Stand there with your feet shoulder width apart, and then it's very simple. While keeping your shoulders and your hips square, lift one of your feet and then keep it in the air. It doesn't need to be high in the air, but just hold it in the air and work on being able to hold it for longer and longer periods of time. And if you're in front of the mirror, it may help to look yourself in the eyes to keep your balance, or to look at a spot on the wall above the mirror or whatever that is stationary that can help you to keep your balance. And then you put that foot down and pick up the other foot and do the same thing. And ideally, you want to use that stick as little as possible and eventually get to the point where you're not using a stick at all. Okay, so that's level one. And hopefully, every single one of you by the end of the year are going to pass level one with flying colors. If you start today, you should be able to stand on one of your feet for at least 30 seconds, if not a minute, and then switch over and stand on the other foot for 30 seconds to a minute. All right. Level two is using your balance in everyday life. And this is, I think, something that I would encourage you to strive for, because by incorporating, or let's say by doing your everyday things in a slightly different way, you actually practice your balance without even realizing it. And when I'm talking about these things in everyday life, I mean putting on your clothes. So some people may sit down on the edge of the bed to put their feet through the holes in their underwear to put on their underwear. Try doing that standing up instead. And what about putting on your socks? Don't sit down to do that anymore. Or even your shoes. I personally don't have a chair in my front hall because it's so tiny, my front hall. So we are forced to put on our shoes standing up, and even to tie our shoelaces and all that standing up. All of that is practicing our balance at the very same time. So that is an easy way to like up your game on your balance. You can do this in various different ways. I actually have fun every time I go to the weight room, or go to the gym, I should say, because sometimes I'm going there for classes. But when I go to the gym and I'm in the locker room, of course, I'm changing from my outdoor shoes to my indoor shoes. And I do that standing up. And I might do a little game with myself that, yeah, I take off one shoe and one sock without ever putting my foot down. Then I've got to like reach over for my bag, find the new pair of socks, unhook the socks from each other, put that new sock on and put the other, my outdoor or my indoor shoe, whatever it is, the other shoe on, and then I get put that foot down and do the same thing on the other side. So I make like a little game of it because I got to change my shoes and socks anyway. So why not get some benefit out of it at the same time? And you can do things like in the shower, washing your feet, standing up, and all kinds of things like that. And now a next level would be to add some balance exercises into your life. Now, one way of doing that is to take a class where there are some balance exercises. So, a lot of yoga classes do that, and maybe some other classes that your gym has to offer. Or you can incorporate it, for example, into your weight training warm up. I do that when I'm on lower body day. So, my way of, for example, warming up my hip sockets is that I pick up my leg, my foot, and rotate it around to the back. Oh my God, that's really hard to describe on a podcast. But if you can imagine like rolling your shoulder from front to back, I'm doing the same thing, but with my leg. And I'll do 4 circles front to back, and then 4 circles back to front. And that whole time, I'm standing on the other leg with the rolling leg off the ground. And so that is a balance exercise right there. And then I'll do the other side. But I guess my key message here today is that you don't need to like schedule additional time out of your week to be practicing your balance. You can very effectively hold on to your balance by doing those small things that I suggested in the beginning. You can do this standing on one foot and then on the other foot while you're brushing your teeth, while you're waiting for your coffee to, drip or your water to boil. Then obviously the getting dressed thing, that's easy enough to incorporate into your life. It's going to feel hard in the beginning. I'm not going to kid you. In the beginning, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I need to be standing and oh, I might need to hold on to the wall or whatever. Or you might be falling over. So, proceed with caution, but you'll notice after just a few days or weeks, it will become easier and easier and it'll just become a habit and your balance will be maintained that way. You don't always need to have like a formal kind of exercise for something in order to maintain your balance. And with that, I will leave you till next week and wish you happy training.